Thank you. Thanks for joining me this evening. I want to take a little time just to share with you an application we developed. This is actually a migration of an application that was originally developed with ArcIMS. Going through the natural software migration so many of you are going through, this is now an ArcGIS server application developed in the Flex environment. At the onset of the application, you notice that there's a brief description about what the intent of the application is, as well as a relatively easily to understand legend depicting what types of information we wanted to share with our users on this map. I'll just take a quick second also to show you something we thought was a little bit unique to some of the applications out there, and that was the incorporation of help videos into the application. I won't show one of these videos, but what we chose to do for the application was to break our help into about 4 segments here to offer the end users the opportunity to visually see how the application worked if ever they got to a stopping point. So let's go take a look at the application. At the onset of the application, you notice that we are displaying all types of projects that are going on throughout our city, and the reality of the application is that we try to develop it in a very easy-to-use interface with not a lot of buttons, in an effort to try not to lose our users. So navigation control-wise, zoom in, zoom out, pan, pretty standard stuff there. Overview map, city view, so on and so forth. We did break the find a location into some different components here, and I'm just going to zoom into one of these. What we get is a pop-up box, or a drop-down box, excuse me, with some different mixed-use areas. When we select one of those, we immediately are looking at cached map service here that takes us really quickly to that location in our city, drops the pinpoint, and then gives us an idea as the relationship of this location to the different types of projects that are going on around the city. The user then begins their interfacing with the application a little more in depth by either mousing over one of the projects or by clicking on one of the projects. And for us, this was the really important part of this application, was to create some transparency between what was going on in the city's effort and relaying that out to the citizens through this easy-to-use interface. Some general project information, names and phase that it's in, a person to contact, which is really important when a citizen has questions, email, so on and so forth, a start date and a projected end date, because so often folks want to know just how long those orange barrels are going to be out there in the way, and then a brief description of the project itself at the bottom. Update-wise, what is happening here is we broke this into phases, and the gauge that you see defaults to the phase of the project that it's currently in. So you'll notice I'll hit the drop-down here, and this project happens to be in design phase. If it were in construction phase, our gauge would default to the percentage complete in the construction phase of the project. Within this component, or this portion of the application, we also get a real quick update as to what's going on here. And this information is updated in a GIS environment by our project managers on a weekly basis in most cases. With regards to creating that transparency, especially with relationships to budget, we wanted to be able to share with our stakeholders exactly where the money was coming from for these applications. And what we've done is just create a simple pie chart, breaking this down into the funding mechanisms that are out there, and then also displaying it as a percentage. We can click on any of those portions of the chart and then see a little more detail about where the funding mechanism for a particular project is coming from. So it then makes a very educated constituent base. Okay. I'm going to close the project details here. The other thing we've incorporated into this application is a places you've been, or a my places type functionality. And you remember early in the demonstration here, I chose this city center project as a project location, and I can choose to save this. And you'll notice when I do that I now have the addition of a my places functionality up here. So I'm going to zoom back to the full extent of the city real quick, and then you'll notice my places now includes Lenexa City Center as a my place. I can choose to manage the my places as well. If I am no longer interested in it, I can clear that and say okay. The next time you'll notice, or by virtue of doing that, now the my places functionality has disappeared. I'm going to look at one more project here real quick to show you a little wrinkle that we did add to this application, and that was also the ability to allow our project managers to incorporate PDF documents that then would give further details to what's going on at a particular location. Very nice application. We've enjoyed working with Flex. Please contact us if you have any questions. Thank you.